All right, guys, welcome back to the gym. We're going to do a little bit something different today. We're not going to be meeting tomorrow on Memorial Day weekend, Sunday. I want you guys to make sure that you enjoy time with your family and rest. Hey, Ronnie's with us. That's kind of cool. All right, so Ronnie, what's up? We're gonna do some goal writing tonight. I'm gonna try to teach these guys how to come up with a goal that's effective, that they can achieve. All right. So we're gonna do SMART goals. I'm gonna put you make you co-host so you can come on mic anytime you want. So what we have is I want to make sure that the guys who are on this call, my most important role here is to make sure that these guys would get through the season as effectively as possible. And the first thing that we'd have to do at the beginning of every season is to establish goals. So I want to make sure that we spend today, maybe we can just have a little bit of a faster workout today, but establish goals that are well written, that are achievable goals for you guys to either go through this summer with or through the next season, and even maybe in gymnastics. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a piece of paper. We're going to use a front and the back side of each piece of paper. And I want you on one side of the paper at the top, I want you to write short term and flip over the piece of paper and write long term. And underneath the word short term, I want you to write summer. And then underneath the word long term, I want you to write season. Okay, so guys, one of the things about a goal is achievable and a dream isn't. A dream is fantasy, but a goal is something that you can achieve. And from a teaching perspective, I want to try to establish goals that all of my students can achieve. If I establish goals that people can't achieve, then I'm setting myself and the student up for failure at the end of the year. Like, let's say, Aiden, my goal for you is to win level 10s. Level 10 juniors, that's nothing. Right? If that's the goal, then most likely at the end of the season, you and I are going to be disappointed. We have to be realistic. So we have to be able to put together goals that at the end of the season, if we didn't make, it's not because the goal wasn't written or established effectively, it was just because we just couldn't quite get it done. So there's a fine line between writing down a dream and writing down a goal. And Aiden, I want to make sure that you have a goal. All right, Jackson, Torrin, everybody else, but I was really thinking about Aiden. I've worked with you for so long, and if I don't get to work with you again, I want to at least make sure that we've established your goals so that you can achieve those goals with whoever you're working. That's the most important thing. So on the front of your page that says short term and then summer, I want you to write the word S.M.A.R.T, SMART. I want you to write an S on top and then an M underneath it and then an A underneath that and then an R and a T. And you're going to write a SMART goal. Okay? Maybe is that Sean's dad or Sean's mom? I can't quite see off camera. Sean's dad. Okay, so we're gonna write a SMART goal, everybody. And the first thing that you wanna write next to the S is you wanna write the word specific. You wanna write a specific goal. Say, for instance, I give you this goal. I want to win at gymnastics. It might be something that's fun to say, but it's not very specific. Like, win what? Win one meet? Win two meets? Win all of the meets that I'm in? Win junior nationals? Win one event? Win states? Win regionals? Just saying that I want to win at gymnastics doesn't tell me what I want to win at. We want to make sure that the first thing is your goal is specific. So if I say I want to win, I have to tell you what meet I'm trying to win. I have to tell you nationals or it's states or regionals, and I have to be very specific. Goal is, okay? So you guys to just write the word specific. Okay, that's the first word of SMART. The next letter of SMART is an M, and that stands for measurable. If you can't measure whether or not you're improving or not, how can you tell you're improving? So your goal has to be measurable. And one of the cool things about gymnastics is that we have an actually really beautifully organized scoring system, which makes it pretty easy to measure things. So if you use the scoring system and the scores that you get at meets as your ability to measure things, or if you say, for instance, do strength training like we do every Wednesday, then you can use the data that you get from strength training as your measurables, as your variables, and you can graph them and you can see change. So you have to be able to measure your goal. So just saying I want to win at something or win at gymnastics, it's not specific, it's not measurable. Okay, the next letter is A, and the word that is associated with the letter A is attainable. It's got to be attainable for you. I'm a 43-year-old guy. For me to say that I'm going to be competitive at the Junior Olympic National Championships this year if I come back, it's totally not attainable. Or if I say, Ronnie, let's go to the gym and let's work really hard on doing, let's really try as hard as we can to slam dunk a basketball. I mean, I'm 5'8". Ronnie's 5'3". Being nice.
5 feet. There's no chance.
Being nice. So that particular goal is not attainable. Or if I said, Sean, I want you to be competitive and I want you to win regionals as a level 6, that might not be a real attainable goal. So your goal has to be attainable. The next letter in S.M.A.R.T is an R, okay? And the word associated with R is realistic. Realistic, you have to write realistic down next to the R. And that means that your goal has to make sense on this planet. So if my goal is to jump to the moon, it doesn't really matter how long I work on that goal or how hard I work on it or how much Roddy trains me to jump to the moon. It's totally unrealistic. It doesn't happen on this planet. So to make a goal like that is crazy. Like I want to jump on top of the basketball and land with both feet on the hoop. And I try and train and train and train. It's just not going to work. It's not realistic. And the last part of the word SMART is a T. And the word associated with the letter T is time sensitive. So you have to give me a period of time that this goal is going to elapse. So that's why the first page is a short-term goal, which is going to be a goal that you're going to try to achieve by the end of the summer. And then the other side of the page is a long-term goal, and that's a goal that you're going to try to achieve by the end of this year. Now, Sean, this might be more or less difficult for you to kind of think about, but I'm sure your dad is there and your dad can help you think about goals for sure. But Aiden, you might have specific goals that you want for this year. And if that's the case, you have to kind of think about what they're going to be. So the next thing I want you to do is I want you to write these, I think it's 6 or 7 words down, okay? Who, write the word who, and then comma, and then the word what. The next word is where. The next word is by when. The next word is how. And the last word is measured by who. It's not really a word, it's like measured by. Okay, so who is going to do what, by when, where are they going to do it, who's going to measure it, and how well are they going to do it? Okay, so who is going to do what, by when, where are they going to do it, who's going to measure it, and how well are they going to get it done? Those are the other things that I want you to consider. So let's write down the first part. Let's write down who. All right, who is going to do these goals, okay? Aiden, who is going to achieve your goal? Me. Correct. So right next to the word, you can write who. Okay, the next one is that we can address right now is by when. And on the front page, we all agreed that by when is by the end of this summer. Who, by when? Okay, now where is this going to happen? Let's assume that at the end of the summer, we're still online. Let's just assume that. So the where is going to be in your house, in your Never Chalk studio, in your Never Chalk gym, right where you work out all the time. That's going to be the where. Where are you going to achieve this goal? Is it going to be in the gym? Is it state championships? Is it going to be at regionals? Is it going to be in a different gym? Who is going to do what? By when? Where are they going to do it? Who's going to measure this? Who do you think is going to measure this online summer goal, Abdurrahim? Okay, but who else do you think could possibly be a judge as to whether or not you are correctamundo? As measured by Daniel. Okay, so who is going to do what? Abdurrahim is going to do something. By the end of the summer, in this gym right here that he's sitting in, as measured by Daniel. And now we have 2 words to fill in. What are you going to get done? And to what extent are you going to get that done? Okay, Jackson? You understand what I said? So now you have 2 questions. We've answered the who, where, measured by who and when. Now I want to know, Jackson, what do you want to get done? And how well do you want to get it done? All right? And now the easiest way, because it has to be measurable, Jackson, put yourself on mic. The easiest way to think of this is because it has to be measurable. Why don't we think about using the scoring system? So let's say, Jackson, you wanted to do, for instance, an endo on high bar. Well, it's not really attainable because we don't have a high bar. But you could say, for instance, I think that you need to work on your future star flexibility routine because your flexibility is still a little bit high. Is that fair to say? So maybe a good goal would be by the end of the summer, Jackson is going to do a future star flexibility routine on the blue mats that he's sitting on right now for Daniel, and he has to score a 9.4 or higher. And that goal is something that I think that is specific and it's measurable because we're using the scoring system. It's also something that I think that you could actually attain. It's realistic on this planet and it's time sensitive. Not only that, but it addresses who is going to do what, by when, where are they going to do it, how well are they going to get it done, and who's going to measure it. Does that make sense? So why don't you write down, and I think Aiden and Torin and Sean and probably Abdurrahim can use the same format for their first goal because everybody is working on the future star flexibility routine. So why don't you practice writing your first summer goal, and we'll have 2 summer goals. One is kind of one that we're formulating now with the future star flexibility routine. And another one is going to be something that you want to accomplish. We'll just use the future star flexibility one as the format. So it should be something like Abdurrahim is going to do the future star flexibility routine in the gym that he has established in his home. And Daniel is going to measure it, and he's going to score a 9.6 by the end of the summer, which is August 31st. All right, now, Sean, I think that the same goal for you and for your dad might be something like Sean is going to do a future star flexibility routine on that blue and yellow mat over there by the end of August. Daniel is going to measure it, and he's going to score a 7.5. You understand what I mean? Torin and Aiden, I want to hear what your goals are, or what your future star goal you think would be. And now, if the 7.5 isn't realistic or your score isn't realistic, that's where I come in. I can say, hey, you know, maybe we're shooting for something that isn't real. Maybe we readjust the number, and then now all of a sudden the score, because I know what future star routines are worth, maybe I can help you adjust the attainability or of the particular goal. So Aiden, what is your first goal associated with Future Stars?
I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna make it easy for you, right? The only thing that you need to do is tell me what you're gonna score. Okay, because I think the goal, and this might be a goal that is a little bit skewed because I'm formulating the goal for you just for an example.
But your flexible stars?
Aiden is gonna do a Future Star flexibility routine on the floor that's in his gym right there under that fan by the end of the summer, and Dan is gonna score him at least an 8.0. Now, given what you know, Ronnie, about a Future Star flexibility routine, is an 8.0 outlandish for Aiden to score? Is a 9.4 outlandish for Aiden to score?
It's hard. I don't think I've given too many mid-nines.
Right, so let's try to think of, I think if you were scoring an 8.0 by the end of the summer, you've made a lot of improvement. Right now, I'm probably at a 6.3 with you. You know, so if you can achieve that goal, and then that goal is well-written, smart, attainable, all those other things. Now, what your challenge is, and Abdul Rahim, your challenge is, can you come up with a different goal? Maybe it's a planche in the parallettes that's with 5/10 or under. What is a skill goal that you want to achieve? And what is the score that you want to get on that goal? And write the goal specifically out. Okay, so Aiden, do you understand what I mean about that particular example of your Future Star flexibility goal?
Yeah.
Can you read then what your goal for Future Star flexibility is? And Torin, I'm coming to you, and Jackson, I want to know what your Future Star flexibility goal is. And Torin and Jackson, if I don't necessarily think the number is attainable, I can help you adjust that. So Aiden, what is your goal?
Score an 8.0 on a Future Star flexibility routine.
Keep going. By when?
By the end of summer on that floor as measured by Dan.
And that's the full goal. Is Ronnie going to measure it? I'm a hard judge. Is Abdul Rahim going to measure it? Is Sean's dad going to measure it? You know, are you going to do it on a bouncy house, or are you going to do it at Sky Zone? So all of those aspects of the goal are really important, even though right now they may seem trivial. But when we go back to the gym, are you going to do it in like on an 8-inch where you have squishy mat underneath you, or are you going to do it on the floor? Are you going to do it in the belt? So you just want to make sure you're specific for what your goal is. You understand? Okay, Torin. Now, your goal might be very similar, but what is your Future Star flexibility goal right now?
That I'll score, I don't really know a reasonable goal for the Future Star flexibility.
I would say probably like an 8.3, 8.4. I think that your form right now in your splits is a little bit kind of cleaner than Aiden, which is why I would say just a little bit higher. But I think an 8.4, 8.5, let's say an 8.5. If you score an 8.5 on all of your Future Star flexibility routines, that would be a decent score to try to make Future Star Nationals. So let's start with an 8.5.
Okay, so I'll score an 8.5 on a Future Star flexibility routine in my gym. And by the end of summer, scored by you, Dan.
Now, if you think that you guys are going to be going back to Vermont, then maybe what you say is at Regal measured by Eli. Or if you're not going to have Eli measure it and you want me to measure it, then on the online with Daniel on like a quote private lesson or whatever, and he judges me. So however you're expecting to be judged is something you also need to consider. Okay, but I think that is a finely written goal. Ronnie, do you think that his goal of an 8.5 is attainable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not because the goal is written incorrectly that we're not going to be able to attain it. It's because maybe we just didn't do our legwork, or maybe we just didn't focus on it enough. Jackson, Jackson, do you have a goal as well?
Yeah, I have a goal.
Let me hear it.
My goal is to score a 8.5 on my future star flexibility routine here. And Dan is going to score it. You're going to score it.
Okay, now
by the end of August.
What happens if you say, for instance, have Tom Fontecchio scores it, and he also gives you an 8.5, and Ronnie scores it at an 8.5? And Ronnie and Tom Fontecchio and myself, we are all valid judges. What happens if Billy Callahan comes on and he also scores it an 8.5? Does that count, or is it just me?
Yeah, it counts.
So why don't you change the as measured by who maybe to somebody who is a legitimate judge within Region 6 or something like that. And that gives you a little bit more wiggle room in achieving your goal, right? So if I say, hey, Ronnie, can you score this? And then you don't have to argue, well, Ronnie did it. That doesn't say, Daniel, I didn't achieve my goal because Ronnie did. I think that that's splitting hairs, okay? So maybe by a judge in Region 6 by the end of the summer, and I think that's pretty cool. So
okay.
What you guys to do is think about all of the events: floor, pommel horse, rings, vault, P-bars, and high bar. I'm gonna go to Sean, and when I'm done with Sean, I want you guys to tell me what your second summer goal is. Okay, Abdurrahim, Aiden, Torrin, and Jackson.
I have a question.
Yes, what's the question?
It's just that, what's like a good score for me?
On what?
On the future star flexibility routines.
I mean, I think you're super clean. That's why I said like a 9.5. You're at it, bro. 9.5, something huge. And I want you to say, like, and not just necessarily with Tom Fontecchio, but like, Tom, somebody harsh. Like, I'm not going to be kind to you when I judge.
Yeah.
With somebody like not your mom, you know, like somebody who is harsh. A 9.5 with a critical judge. You know, so you guys think about a different goal based on a skill you want to do and how well you want to do that goal. And we'll go over those goals. And then what I want you guys to do is come up with a season-long goal by yourself. And then you guys can either email it to me, or we can talk about it next Saturday or next Sunday. Maybe you can have a homework assignment for next Sunday and work on a season-long goal. All right, let me make sure that Sean and his pops are good to go. You guys get to work, okay? Habibi. Okay, Sean and his pops, can you read what your future stars goal is going to be?
Sean is going to do a future flexibility challenge in the family room on the blue and yellow mat, scored by Daniel, 7.5 score by end of summer.
Right now, Ronnie, any issues with that goal? Was that specific? Was it measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive?
Yes, I believe so.
Right, I think so as well.
Good job, Sean.
Okay, now Sean, let's think about this. Let's think about floor. Okay, I think that another good goal, your first skill or one of your skills, is going to be a headstand. Okay, and if you can hold your headstand for 3 seconds, you get a 5/10 bonus. So if you can't hold a headstand, maybe we say your goal could have something to do with headstands. Okay, here's another goal that you could think about. Right now, your pommel horse routine, if you do 5.5 circles, it's bonus. You get 5/10 bonus. So your second goal could have something to do with mushrooms if you catch them my drift, Don's pops. You know what I mean? Right?
Her goal was 10 circles on mushroom.
Oh, but that's not time sensitive. That's not telling me who's measuring it. That was too quick. It wasn't specific enough, right? So I want you to take time with your dad. But let's write down a couple of other things, okay? So one of them could be a headstand. Another one could be a press handstand. Another one could be 5 circles on mushroom, which you did pretty well. So if you tell me that your goal is to do 5 circles on mushroom, I don't think that's a very good goal, because already done it. Okay, so I also think that like maybe on rings, you need to do a chin up. So you need to do a muscle up. So maybe if a goal had something to do with pull-ups, that would be a good object of the goal. And on high bar, you need to be able to do I think a pullover. So let's just go with those objects of the goal first, if Sean's dad knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's see, anybody make any progress in thinking about the object of their goals? Yes, Abdul Rahim. Yes, sir.
I was thinking of something on the ground.
So learning something on the ground in terms of pommel horse, is that what you mean? Okay, so I mean, I totally agree with you, but whether or not it's attainable is in question because you have a very small surface area to work with. The couch is behind you, you know what I mean? So I think that one of the things that you could do is double or triple Russian on the ground.
That's what I was thinking about.
Okay, so why don't you finish the goal? I think it sounds realistic. Look around you. And it's not just realistic of whether or not it can happen on this planet. It's realistic based on your environment and what you have. Are you going to break your toes by kicking the couch? You know what I mean? Any more room? Is it realistic in the environment that you have? So take a look around. If it's realistic, formulate the goal, and then let's think about it and see whether or not you can do it, okay? Let's go to Torin. Torin, do you have an object of the goal right now?
Yeah, I do. It's endo roll on floor.
Now you can't do it. You already cannot do it. Like right, can you do an endo roll?
Maybe.
Okay, so if it's maybe, this seems like to be a good object of the goal. But I want you to make it more specific. I don't understand when you say to do an endo roll. I don't know to what extent or to what ability you're expecting to do the endo roll to have achieved your goal. So I think when it says who should do what, where, when shall they do it, and how well should they do it, I don't think that you were specific enough as to the how well should you get it done part. So think about that.
For the goal, I wrote, I'll perform an endo roll on floor in my home gym with good form, straight legs and pointed toes, 5 days in the week as measured by a coach in the 6x6.
Okay, so I think it's a difficult thing that it says with straight legs and pointed toes. All right, so who's to say whether or not your legs are straight or your toes are pointed? I don't know how to measure that, but if you said something like this, with under 5/10 of deduction,
Okay.
oh, now I know whether or not if I took 8/10, did you achieve your goal or not? Right, if I took 8/10 and your goal is to be under 5/10, then I can measure whether or not you actually achieved your goal. But if I say it's with your legs straight, you could say, well, I thought it was straight. And I could say, well, I didn't think it was straight. And then we don't have anything that's actually measurable. We just have something that is qualitative. It's describing a quality of something and not the quantity, the measurable quantity of something. So I think that when you guys think about how well you should do something, I think you should focus on the scoring system, because in gymnastics, it's unique and it gives you an easy way to say, you could say under 3/10 of deduction or with 8/10 of deduction or less as measured by a judge. And then that deduction is based on the judge's input there, not just some subjective idea of whether or not you're doing it well or with your legs straight or bent or whatever. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, what would be a reasonable
Well, right now you can't do it at all, right? So if you could do an endo roll with under 5/10 of deduction, or if you could do an endo roll with, right now you have let's do under 5/10 of deduction. I think that's good. If you get 5/10 of deduction, a judge might not give you credit for the skill at all. So let's start with 5/10 of deduction, and then you formulate the goal, and then read it back to me when you're done. And I'm gonna go to Aiden. Aiden, do you have an object of the goal?
I want to be a level 8 by the end of the summer at at my gym when we go back there, and as measured by, I guess, my coach.
Okay, so let's think about what that means. You want to be a level 8. Right now, he competed as a level 6 last year. To be a level 8 is measurable aside from the fact that I just give you a label. Like right now, Aiden, I could say you're a level 8. I could give you the label of level 8 as you've given yourself the label of 10,000. But I don't know if level 8 is specific enough. Now let's think a couple of things that might make it so you could get to a level 8. I think the number one thing is a press handstand. Like if you can't do a press handstand, you can't be a level 8. You're going to be a JD1 trying to be a level 8. So if you can do a press handstand, a level 8, remember, is also no pommels. So most likely you want to do JD1. I think what you're saying is you want to be an optional gymnast and not level 7 or 6 any longer.
Yeah.
So why don't we think of 1 or 2 skills that is critical to you being able to achieve that level of gymnastics, and number 1 is a press handstand.
Mm-hmm.
So now thinking about like what would your goal be associated with a press handstand that might allow you to achieve your goal as of becoming this, again, qualitative label of level 8. What are you going to do that is measurable that's going to get you to that level? It could be just get your splits flat, get each split under 2/10, under 1/10 of deduction as measured by Ronnie, and get a press handstand on floor, or get 50 circles on mushroom in a row. 50 circles is easy to measure. I just count them out.
Mm-hmm.
So think about a specific goal that is measurable, not describable by saying he's a level 8 or you're a level my favorite. You know what I mean? So just think about that for a couple seconds, okay? Let me go to Jackson and see if Jackson has made progress in the object of his second goal. Jackson.
My goal is to be able to do a round up back handspring, back tuck in a level 6 routine, scored by my coach or a judge in Region 6, and the score has to be higher than a 9.0.
The score has to be what score? You said a round up back handspring, back tuck. So your routine, I think you want to score a 9.0 on your routine. And you're specifying how well you want to do the routine by saying that you can't just do any routine. That routine must have the round off back handspring, back tuck in it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you rewrite that goal so it makes sure that we're really specific about what it is, okay? Ronnie's going to go in a couple seconds, so I'm going to give her an opportunity to maybe like make some comments and give you guys her ideas before she gets out of here.
You're really putting me in the spotlight here, aren't you?
She's really great on camera. This is the second broadcast in a row where she's going to bonk, and I love this. Maybe she's nervous, everybody. Maybe she's nervous.
I'm not a public speaker. I'll admit to that. No, I think these are great. It's as specific as you can be. Being as specific as you can be is really important in achieving your goals and having attainable goals. My guys do it every year. But we're still learning it's a learning process also. You're not going to be able to, just from today, be able to constantly be great at making attainable, reachable goals. It's a learning process. You're going to keep doing it. And the good thing is once you learn it and once you're okay with getting better at it over time, I guess, you can also use that same skill in your real life. In like your school life or regular day-to-day things. I think the important thing is like things that you learn now in gymnastics are going to transfer. So that's my gem of wisdom, Daniel.
Cool. All right, babe. Nice to see you. All right, so let's go back to Abdul Rahim. It seems like he is ready to maybe tell us what his next goal is. Abdul Rahim, what is your fully written goal number 2 for the summer? You're good?
My final goal is Abdul Rahim is going to do a double Russian on the floor by the end of the year, measured by Coach Dan or a valid judge on his floor and have 7 tenths or less deduction.
Now, I think that you should also say that a double Russian doesn't count unless you do a circle out of it. So you should do a circle, double Russian to circle with less than 7 tenths of deduction, and I think that is a perfectly written goal. Okay, Torn, let's go to your goal. Make sure that you're making progress. What do you think?
My goal is that I will perform a full pirouette on parallettes with less than 3 tenths of deduction in my home as judged by a Region 6 judge on Zoom by the end of August.
Excellent. Now, do you know what a full pirouette is? I want to know if you're talking about a half pirouette and then another half pirouette in a row, or are you actually talking about a B full pirouette on P-bars? Okay, those are 2 half pirouettes in a row. A full pirouette is actually a much more difficult skill. So I would rewrite your skill, your goal to be 2 half pirouettes in a row. Now, are you going to hold the handstand beforehand and afterhand? Are you going to hold the handstand in the middle? I don't mean to be picky, but I want to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to hold the handstand before and then do the 2 half pirouette and then hold the handstand again.
So you're going to hold the handstand before, do a half pirouette, and hold the last handstand as well, all with less than 7 tenths of deduction. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure you write it out so that we're sure, and then see if we can achieve these goals, okay? Aiden, go for it. And then I'm going to go to Jackson. We're going to go back to Sean and his pops. Make sure we're good to go.
I will get a press handstand with under 3 tenths of deduction in my home gym by the end of summer. Judged by Dan.
Now, 3 tenths of deduction or 5 tenths? What do you think?
Probably 3.
Okay. Do you think that's attainable? I can't remember how you do a press handstand right now. Is that an attainable goal, or is it more attainable to say 5 tenths? This is up to you now. Now, this is going to be a reflection of how much excellence do you want to hold yourself to?
I think 3 tenths.
Okay, so put it down, right? And what I want you guys to do is I want you to sign your name next to these goals. And I want you to put the date. These 2 goals, the Future Star goal and the second goal that you've written, I want you to sign your name next to it and put the date. Can you make another short-term goal? 1 second. Jackson, I want to make sure that your second short-term summer goal is well written, and then we can move to Sean and his pops. And Abdul Rahim, if you want to make a second goal, of course you can. But I also want you to flip over the page. And I want you to remember, what is this long-term goal? It's the same thing. But you guys have worked your butts off on online gymnastics to do something. What are you trying to get out of this? Are you trying to win regionals? If you say that you're trying to win regionals, that's somewhat attainable, but I think a better goal is to say, I would like to score this in the all-around by this date, as measured by these judges. And then we can measure that, okay? From routine to routine to routine in the gym, and from competition to competition. All right, Jackson, go.
So I revised my first one a little bit. My goal is I will be able to do a round off back handspring, back tuck in any routine by the end of the summer. It has to score a 9.0 measured by a Region 6 judge or my coach.
Now, are you saying any routine, any level 7 routine, any level 8 routine? What are you talking about, any routine?
Level 6 or 7.
Okay, so you want to be able to do a round off back handspring, back flip in a routine, either a level 6 or a level 7 routine. All right, and that routine you want to score a 9.0 on.
Correct.
I want you to be more specific. I want to know level 6 or level 7. What do you want, bro?
Level 7.
And put it down and go make it happen. Okay, same thing with you, Abdul Rahim. Same thing with you, Aiden. Enough of this. I want to be this. I want to be that. What level are you? Okay. All right, Aiden, if I had to make a choice, I would say JD1. Either that or level 9 because of your age. Level 8 wouldn't be appropriate. It's either level 9 or JD1. All right, Jackson and Torin, I would probably say level 7 is reasonable. Sean, level 5 is reasonable. Abdurrahim, definitely level 7 is reasonable. Okay, all right, so let's go to Sean and his father. Maybe they can come up with a couple of goals that they have written, and then anybody else who wants to talk a little bit more about this topic, we can do so. But then I'm going to wrap this up because I think that this is a pretty important and valuable Zoom call. So Sean and your father, you got the mic.
I'm going to do a press handstand without jumping into it in the family room, judged by Daniel by end of August.
And now when you say that you're going to do it judged by Daniel without jumping, I still think that it's going to be difficult for me to measure that. Why don't you guys think of, and I'll help you but at the same time, Sean's pop, you know judging, right? You know like the rules of gymnastics to some extent. And you know it's a 1, 3, or 5/10 deduction. All right. How many tenths are you expecting to be successful? Like if he falls and he gets a 1 point off, is that successful, or is it 5 tenths or less? And then when I judge him and I say, I took 6 tenths off, I took 5 tenths off, I took a point off, I took 3 tenths off, because of the numbers will determine whether or not he actually achieved his goal. So can you be even more specific? Like say for instance, it's easy on push-ups and pull-ups. You just give a number. But when you say that he's going to do a straddle press handstand without jumping, to me, I think it's still a little bit qualitative. So maybe what you say is without jumping with 5 tenths or less, and then there's something specifically measurable there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how many tenths do you think is reasonable for us to achieve this? I think 5 tenths is probably reasonable.
You think you can do 5? Is that what you're going to go for?
Yeah.
That means he can't take 2 steps and have a big arch in his back. That means he can't fall over. That means he can't blow it. He's got to like maybe 1 or 2 steps at most with a good straight back and good form. But I think that 5 tenths is a pretty good measurable there. So I would add the 5 tenths of deduction or less as your qualifier for whether or not we've achieved that success as measured by myself. Or again, some other coach or judge that's on the Zoom calls or whatever. All right. Abdurrahim, give me 1 second. Let me work with Sean and his pops on one more that they've written. And then I'll go to you guys for a second. You got another one for me, Sean?
You have another one? Yeah, right?
Chin ups.
Okay, so you
10 chin ups.
No, you gotta do in this thing. I'm going to do.
So, I mean, I think that 10 chin-ups is a good thing. Are you going to use that bungee, or are you not going to use the elastic band?
Down.
No.
So
Right.
Elastic band.
10 pull-ups without the elastic band. Do you think that that is actually something that you can achieve, attainable? I think 5 is probably pretty close to good. I don't think you can do 5 by yourself.
Can you do 5?
Right? You know, if you can't do 5, maybe what we do is we start with 5. If you can kill 5,
Okay.
10 is a little bit more attainable. It's more realistic then. So why don't you start with 5? And now if you say that you want to do it by the end of the summer and you're able to do 5 in 2 weeks, then you reached your goal, and then we can reestablish your goal and say 7, 8, whatever we want. But you want to make sure that you're able to achieve the goal. Because if I say 15, Sean, and you don't get it by the end of the summer, it's either because you didn't get strong enough or I allowed you to write the wrong goal. Right? I want to make sure it's not because we wrote the wrong goal. So why don't you make it 6?
I think in the middle.
6 pull-ups without bending your knees. You got to do them legit, all your own strength. Right? And I think that that would be a realistic approach. Okay, Abdurrahim, it looked like you wanted to say something. Why don't you come on screen and on the mic? What's up, my dog?
Nothing much, but is it fine if my double Russian was on long term, but then after I'm gonna make another one on short term.
Yeah, what's your short-term double Russian goal?
My double Russian goal is on long term.
I know, but I think that the double Russian goal, you could do that by the end of the summer. That could be another short-term goal.
Yeah.
I'm talking a long-term goal. Abdurrahim is going to score a 70 as a level 7 at the Massachusetts State Championships meet of 2021 as measured by the judges in Region 6 at wherever the state championships is at.
But Coach Dan, I've already done level 7, so I'm probably going to level 8.
Okay, so my bad. So then the goal would be Abdurrahim is going to score a 74 or 70 or higher as a level 8 as measured by the judges at state championships at wherever the location of the state championships in 2021.
Sure. 74?
What'd you say?
Wait, you said 74?
I mean, I think that probably a 70 is reasonable.
Yeah.
70 is a good goal. It's even. It's difficult to make that goal. Right? Any other thoughts?
Not sure. Oh wait, I had another maybe short-term goal. It was doing.
You're going to have 100 of them. Now, go again. Go.
A 1 minute, like 20-second, or this, no, 1 minute handstand without moving.
So I think that now what I want you to do, Abdurrahim, now that you know how to write a goal, I want you to go write a bunch of them. Right? We don't have to necessarily, you're going to say, ooh, I got another one. Ooh, I got another one. Ooh, I got another one. I know, that's the point. Now that you know how to write your goals, what I want you to do is maybe email them to me. Email your coach, show your dad, print them out, staple them to your wall. So you can see what your goals are and you can go achieve your goals. You know what I mean? So why don't you guys all come up with 3 to 5 Zoom goals and 2 long-term goals. And it could be a long-term this season and a long-term your gymnastics career. Okay.
Do the 2 short-term goals that I have count?
Yeah, of course they do.
Okay.
I think that they're well written as well. But now you're going to use the same technique to come up with all of your goals for school, for your goals for being a good kid, your goals for gymnastics, your goals for music, your goal for religion. This is how to write a goal though. SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time sensitive, and who should do what, by when, where are they going to do it as measured by who to what proficiency. And then you can just start to put that together and apply it to all parts of your life, like Ronnie said. Jackson, any questions?
No, I think I have a lot of good goals that are achievable. So.
Is there any way that next Sunday we can go over these goals?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you guys to come up with as many goals as you need. I don't care. And we'll go over them next Sunday and help people make right and write effective goals, whoever's on the call next Sunday. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Torrin, are we good to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Abdurrahim, good job. Aiden, good job. Do you need help or to go?
I think I can coach. I think I can make more goals.
Okay. I believe you can. I believe in you. Okay. I'm going to go hit up Sean and his dad. Make sure these guys feel comfortable with what we're doing. Sean, is it okay if you think with your dad about a couple of goals that you want to achieve on the Zoom practices between now and the end of the summer? And then maybe 1 or 2 goals that you have. And maybe it's difficult for you, Sean, because you're really young or because you're just coming back to gymnastics to think about what your long-term goals are for gymnastics. But maybe what you can do is come up with another short-term goal associated with maybe how you're going to help your mom, or how you're going to say like do chores in the house, or how you're going to read more often, or how you're going to do some other aspect of your life that you think that you want to improve. And how are you going to measure that? How are you going to make an appropriate goal to achieve what it is that you want to achieve? So your job is maybe not think long-term about your gymnastics career as an 8-year-old. Maybe it is to apply what you learned to an aspect of your life that's not gymnastics. Okay, and maybe think about doing something with learning or being creative or music as opposed to video games. Okay? Sean's dad, we good?
We're good.
Okay. All right. All right. I mean, I think that's what we're going to do tonight. I think it's important to do goal writing and to know how to write goals. And it's also important for me to get this information out to the guys in our community so that they can be successful in writing and hence achieving their goals by the end of the season. So hope you guys have a good night. Enjoy Memorial Day with your family. And keep repping that 6 for 6.
I had a question real quick.
Who was that who disrupted?